Greetings, sisters. I'm so glad you've tuned in because we have an interview that's going to provide great food for thought for your retirement plans. So feel free to like, share, and subscribe right now. This interview is with my friend and former colleague, Dr. Sonya S. Gaither. Dr. Gaither has nearly 30 years of service in the fields of education and library science. She has held nearly every imaginable position in library science, honing her craft, sharpening her skills, and giving to her community. She currently serves Clayton State University as Dean of Libraries. Her expertise is sought for K through 12 in-service training, public libraries, and TRIO programs, and we love those TRIO programs. She's also a published author and book editor. She has held executive level positions at LaGrange College, as well as served as a member of the LaGrange College Board of Trustees. She's also served on committees for building renovations and written projects for the Affordable Learning Textbook Committee. She is the receiver of numerous awards and accolades to include the LaGrange College Outstanding Alumna Award, the National Pan-Hellenic Council, Women's History Month awardee at Clayton State University, an outstanding leader at the 2024 Education 2.0 conference, and that's just to name a few. Dr. Gaither holds a doctorate of education in educational administration from Georgia Southern University, a master's of science degree in library science from Clark Atlanta University, and a bachelor of science in computer science with a minor in mathematics from LaGrange College. And most recently, she earned a certificate in project management for libraries presented by the Reference and User Services Association of the American Library Association. For the last 29 years, Dr. Gaither has used her teaching, research, computer, and administrative skills and her talents to help others with their educational and professional goals, as well as leading individuals and units in accomplishing the vision and mission of their higher education aspirations. She is a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and most recently, she became an entrepreneur starting Dr. Senithia's Helping Hands LLC. The mission of her business is to help middle and high school students and adult learners develop their lifelong learning skills by teaching them research and information library skills. Welcome, Dr. Sonya Gaither. How are you, Doc?
Thank you. I'm so glad to be with you, my sister.
Oh, I'm glad you're here too. You're looking good. You're looking like you're still on top of things at Clayton State University. I know you are.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, they're keeping me busy.
I know it. I know that's how that thing goes. So, almost 30 years in your career. You're not near 60. You're still in your 50s. That is quite an accomplishment.
Yes.
So how are you feeling at this point in your career? You're giving some thoughts to retirement.
Yes.
So what about that? How's that coming?
So, physically, I'm feeling tired. When I hear everything that I've done, I'm like, whoo, I've done a lot. I'm exhausted just hearing it.
Right.
Excuse me, but I'm excited. I've been able to, I never imagined that I would be at this point in my career. When I started back in 95 and I was signing up for my benefits and they were talking about retirement, and I was like, oh my God, that is so far away.
Right.
And it is 29 years later. I'm like, I am here and now it's time for me to think about it. So
yeah.
I still have work to do, but I don't necessarily know that I want to continue in the line that I'm in. I feel like I want to reinvent myself, so I'm trying to work on that to figure out exactly what that means and what it looks like.
So do
But
you have a time frame in mind, or are you just working until something inside you tells you it's time?
both.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been thinking about, because I am approaching the 30th year and because I am not 60, I've been looking at my options for when I can draw my retirement. And so the earliest I could do it would probably be in a couple of years. I'm 52 now, so that means I will be 54. And so I'm trying to line it up along those lines. And also, I feel like I'm still trying to finish out some projects, some things that I was tapped to do when I came in as library dean. And so I want to make sure all those projects are completed. And so those will be done by the end of 2025. And so what I'm doing now is just taking the time to kind of think through what retirement would look like if I should go ahead and pull the trigger after 2025.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you think it's going to look like, or how are you setting things up for that transition? What do you want it to look like?
So my life, my career has taken the traditional path. So meaning, you grow up, you go to school, and your parents say, okay, now you graduated high school, you go to college. After college, you get married, you have your family, and then life.
Yeah.
Well, my trajectory started off like that. So after high school, I did go to college, graduated, went and got my master's, and then got my first job. And while I was working my first job at Georgia Southern, I got my doctorate. And during that time frame, I did get married. And so I was married for almost 14 years. And then life happened, the marriage ended. I moved back to Atlanta, got the job at Gordon State College as their library director. Stayed there for about 5 years before moving on to Clayton State, to my current position as Dean of Libraries, where I've been for 5 years now at Clayton State. And so I've always wanted a family, and it never happened while I was married. So I decided to become a single parent. And so I went the option route, and recently became a foster mom a couple of months ago. So now my focus have gone from my career to my family.
Yeah.
And so now that I'm towards the end of my career, what I've been thinking about for the last 2 or 3 years, because I've been planning for all of this, to put things in place where, I should retire. I'll have that income coming in and reinvent myself. And I have my business, so I can work that. And then if I want to teach part-time online or do some other venture, then I can have that lined up as well, with the hopes of what I really want to do is just make my own schedule and do what I want to do during that time, so I don't have to punch the clock anymore to say, oh, I got to get up and go to work, and I got to be there by 9, get off at 5. So I don't want to do that anymore, but I want to be able to set my own schedule and then focus my time on my daughter. So the second chapter will be my family focus on my daughter. And so, that's kind of where I'm looking at.
Oh, that sounds great. So it sounds like you have a lot of options. When I was preparing to retire, one of the things I had a lot of anxiety, which is why I started the channel. I started talking about it, and then interviewing my friends and family. But I was concerned about bridging that income gap.
Yep.
So you've got some options. You can always teach. And again, we're talking about in addition to your benefits that you'll get.
Yes.
So you again, you can always teach if you desire. And then your business. Tell me
Correct.
about your business.
Excuse me. So my business was birthed out of my desire to help students. When I was in Statesboro working on my doctorate, I began to well, even before I began to work with my doctorate, as part of my job as a librarian, we have the liaison program, and I had always been assigned to the College of Education because um, eventually I would evolve into working on my doctorate. But I worked with the College of Education faculty, teaching the faculty and the students about library resources. And when I started my doctorate, I became really good friends with some of the professors in the college. And from that, they began to offer me the opportunity to teach online through the College of Education. And so I was able to utilize those skills to be able to teach the students educational research, not just library research, but educational research.
Mhm.
And so the things that I was learning in my doctoral classes, I was turning around and teaching in those classes. And I began to see a need. Um, there was a gap where um, our librarians and our faculty members could not reach all students to be able
Yeah.
to help them with whatever their need was. And so I began to work with the students offline. The students were actually master's level students in the College of Ed that I was teaching in my semester long classes. And so what would happen is after I would teach them in their semester long classes, they would come up to me and say, hey, we're having an in-service workshop in our county. Can you talk to our teachers about this? And
Mhm.
so, yes. And so I began to do that, and I did that for many years. And then they began to invite me to go to the high schools to teach the high school students how to
Mhm.
use Galileo. And so I continued to do that. And so again, I just realized that there was a need. Excuse me. And then I began to read articles recently where I've noticed that the libraries and media centers are being closed down in
Mhm.
K-12 schools.
Yeah.
They're leaving the books in there, um, but they're using the space as a detention hall instead of what it was created for. And that really bothered me. And so I was like, okay, so there has to be a way, because what I'm finding is that the school librarians are being reassigned other tasks, not library related, to help the students with their research. I have former students that are in the education system that I've taught, and they say I've taught the things that I taught them, they taught their students, and they say you have no idea that there is a great need for someone to come in and teach our students how to do research, because they just don't know, because our school librarians don't have the time to do it because they're being tasked to do other things. So light bulb went off, and I was like, hey, I can put all this together in a business and market it and begin to teach the students how to do research and help them answer their questions. And so that's how I was able to birth Dr. Senithia's Helping Hand LLC.
Oh, that is outstanding. I listen, God bless librarians. A part of my happy childhood memories are of being in the library um, on a Saturday. You know, school, of course, is structured, but on the weekend, I had time to just go and be there. Um, and the librarian would come and she'd ask me, she said, would you like to see a movie, a little film? And I'd say yes. And it was just a magical place for me. The reading, the music, the films. It really was my happy place. So, and you do have the spirit of a librarian. I think there's a special, I don't know what it is. It's an empathy, a really connection of a good librarian. And even as a professional, you've helped me tremendously in finding resources, directing me to resources that I need. So that's been wonderful.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a joy.
yeah, yes. Again, when I was preparing, especially the year before,
Mhm.
I'm telling you, I spent a lot of time rolling those numbers, working those numbers, making sure, okay, there's going to be a significant decline in my income initially. How am I going to fill this gap? What am I going to do? Now, you sound like you've got all of those things together. You've got time in the system, age, you've got some other things lined up. But tell me, is there anything that concerns you as you prepare for retirement?
So, well, I'm glad you think that it sounds like I have it together. However, no, I still have those same worries. Like, I call the consultant at least once a year, and I'm like, okay, so how can I make this happen?
Now,
At
which, just for the audience, what consultant are
so,
you talking
so,
about?
so the retirement, my retirement,
Yes,
because I'm
right.
having to look at my portfolio, and I'm like, hey, how can I retire at 55? Please tell me. And so they say, well, your numbers look good,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not going to sustain you for the duration because we're living longer, and if you plan on retiring sooner than the required retirement age, then you're going to use your money faster. So you're going to have to supplement. And so they was like, you're going to have to get another job or create a business. So that's why I've been working on all of that. So I'm still thinking about the numbers.
Okay.
That is definitely one concern. The other concern is just making sure that everything is lined up so that I can take that time to do what I want so that I don't have to punch that 8 to 5 clock, because
Yes.
that's the biggest thing. Like, I am at this point, I'm adamant, and I'm like, oh, I gotta hit the snooze button one more time. I don't want to do that anymore. I just want to be able to move when I want to move, go when I want to go, without having to worry about, is the money there? Um, will somebody stop me? Um, Hopefully no and no.
Yeah.
But those are definitely, the things that I think about all the time. And I just want to make sure that I have a solid foundation. Because I always think about, once I get that solid foundation and I actually step out and start doing it, I'll be okay. But it's
Right.
getting to that point where I can step out. And so that's kind of where I am in that I'm still trying to make sure that I can step out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
same
And
question
yeah.
that
And
I have.
and again, yeah, I'm with you. I felt all of those things. And now I find that it's sort of like jumping in a pool.
Mhm.
You can prepare and you believe you've prepared well, you think you've prepared well, but you
Right.
never really know until you pull the trigger to retire. I mean, I remember just feeling, there was that transition, being state workers and getting paid at the end of the month. So things are lined up for the first. And then just that automatic shift to, okay, my benefit checks will come on the first of the month. And I think I worried TIAA and Teachers Retirement Association to death. It was like, look, I'm in the system. I'll have my benefits on the first of the month. Yes,
Right.
yes. So yeah, there was indeed a lot of anxiety. And yeah, I likened it to just sort of jumping in a pool.
Yeah.
But
That makes
yeah, that you sound like you do. You sound like everything is together, contacting and talking with the financial planner. that was afforded us, still afforded you. As actually, I think I still am afforded that I can still reach out to some of those benefits
Right.
of contacting a financial.
The other thing is thinking back on my younger self back in 95. When I started, if I had have taken the time or had somebody to really sit down and explain to me about the differences between TRS and ORP,
Yeah.
I would have taken TRS.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're not in the
I'm on the other retirement plan, which is ORP. And so, and the way that it was explained to me when I signed up, because you know they give you 5 days to sign up. So during those 5 days, my advice would be research, 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 so that you can understand the plan and ask questions. You don't know what you don't know. So, and that was
that's
my
right.
problem. I didn't know what I knew that I didn't know, but I didn't
Yeah,
know which questions to ask. So that I
right.
was ask questions. Um, had I known then, even though I had no idea that I was going to be in the USG for as long as I have been, I
Mm-hmm.
still would have signed. I would have signed up for the teacher retirement system plan.
Why? Because, that's interesting that you say that because I always thought that, well, two things. I thought that based on the position you were coming into in the University System of Georgia, you were sort of assigned. For example, I thought ORP was for those who worked at the systems office.
No.
Ah, how about
So so as a new employee, when you come in, you get the choice of teacher retirement system TRS or the optional retirement plan, which is ORP.
yeah.
When I came into the system in 95, the way they explained it to me in HR, I was at Georgia Southern at the time. So the way the HR staff explained it to me at the time, they said if you plan on being employed with the USG for more than 5 years, sign up for TRS. But if you don't know, sign up for the ORP. I didn't know. I was just starting my
How could
career.
you know? I mean, I didn't know
Exactly.
either. Yeah.
Well, I was concerned about it, but because I didn't know which questions to ask. I talked to my mom about it, and my mom was not an education person. She's coming from nursing, but she's trying to give me the best advice, and
Right.
because she's my go-to person. And based off of her experience and what they told me is what I told her to help me make this decision. And so we decided, well, maybe ORP is the better way to go. Well, it turns out that no, ORP is not the better way to go, well, at least for me, because after 30 years, of course, you're automatically, you're automatically invested with ORP. But with ORP, you don't get that payout for sick leave and vacation time.
Oh,
Yeah.
got you. Okay, I see. I see. Yes,
Yep.
yes, with TRS. Yes, I
Yep.
was able to
Yes.
roll. I had lots of sick
Uh-huh.
leave time on the
Yes.
books that I was able to use to roll into my number of years of service. And then, of course, I had some vacation
Mhm.
leave time on the books that they paid out.
So I may be able to I think I can get my vacation payout, but my ORP is I'm sorry, my sick leave
Vacation leave, yeah,
is
yeah.
use it or lose it. And so
And
that was
when do you get a chance to use it for
what
crying out loud?
that's what so now so I've used my time for myself as I need it, but now I'm trying to save it so if I have to take it with my daughter I can do
Yes,
that.
very good.
But But the closer I get to retirement, if I see that I'm not gonna need it because I've been sick, I'm gonna use it because I don't want to lose it. Because
Definitely
I
not.
work,
Can't
you
leave
know,
that on the
work
table.
hard, so you don't want to lose the time. Um,
Right.
so yeah, so those are some things that I always think about. I'm like, man, I wish I would have made a different decision, but you know, and at one point I thought that the Georgia legislature was going to change that law because it's law.
Yeah.
Um, and so you can't move from TRS to ORP or ORP to TRS once you've
Wow.
signed up, unless you change jobs and you're still within the system.
Oh, okay.
So, but I can't change now. And at one point, there was discussion within the legislature that they would allow you to transfer, but you would have to buy time to be able to do it. That's expensive. I
Yeah.
mean, who has the money to do that?
Right.
So that never worked out. So
Yeah.
I didn't have the option to make that a reality. But those are some of the things that I think about on a regular basis. And hindsight is 2020. If I had known
Absolutely.
in what I know now, I would have signed up for TRS.
Yeah.
But here I am, 29 years later in the system.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is another reason why I started this. Right. You don't know what you don't know. And
right.
then, like you, I had to pivot on some things from a former marriage, and then I had decisions to make
Yep,
on whether or not to stay or to go. Boy, okay, I've made this investment of time, and if I go someplace else, I'm starting over with a new system.
correct.
So I did have a sense that it would um, be limiting when it came time to retire. But then that's the other thing that you think about it, but it seems so far away.
Yes.
No,
Right. Yeah. It's
it's
like
like that.
it's here. Yeah. Like a
Right.
big
Yeah.
pie.
Yeah. Well, Doc, that I know that's going to help somebody. That's
I
going
hope
to
so.
help
Yeah.
somebody, just sharing these nuggets with sisters or with anybody who has the foresight to think about it. So
Absolutely.
yeah, this has been great and very helpful. And congratulations on starting your business, getting that going and underfoot before you retire so that you're not just starting out once you put down your state career. That's awesome. That
Thank
is
you.
awesome. Doc, this has been fun. This
Yes,
has
it
been
has
really
been.
great. This has been
Yes.
great. So my Super Soul sisters, my audience, hope you've learned something. I'm going to put some information on Dr. Gaither's business in the description box, helping our talented young brothers and sisters. We love it. All right. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Sure.